10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
Is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
Deep to right field at the warning track. See ya.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
At the buzzer.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Huge win for Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and it is great to be with you today. Oregon baseball just wrapped up some interviews with the media. The Ducks are getting ready for what is a big weekend because they are currently pacing the Pac-12 standings. That's right. They're sitting alone in first place in the Pac-12 standings, heading into this weekend's matchup with USC. That's going to be at 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and noon at PK Park. We'll have the call for you here on the Oregon Sports Network, pregame beginning 15 minutes before first pitch. We also, yesterday, as we were getting off the air, the full announcement came out about the honorary captains that are back for the spring game, but also the spring game and what we're calling the Duck Day, if you will, because 4 former Oregon football superstars are returning to Autzen Stadium for that April 23rd spring game. It's DeAnthony Thomas and Haloti Ngata who will be honorary coaches for the yellow team, and LaMichael James and Eric Armstead will be the honorary coaches for the green team. Boy. DeAnthony Thomas versus Haloti Ngata. Who wins that tackling drill? LaMichael James versus Eric Armstead. Who wins that?
Got to catch him.
Terry Jonz is here, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy, I'm good.
Terry Jonz is here because we're also not only going to talk about the spring game. It is women's basketball season, unfortunately, has come to a close. And, well, instead of me babbling about Oregon women's basketball, we figured we'd bring in the expert. So how are you? It's great to see your face. I can read your lips these days.
Yeah, I know. People are going, put your mask back on. Terry,
Faces
right?
for radio.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hey,
we understand. We know how it goes.
But when I was your age, though, I had one for TV.
Did you?
Yeah.
I never did.
Yeah.
I never
At least
did.
I was told that. I don't know. But
Face for radio. Now the running joke was face for live stream. That's not quite good enough, face for TV. But,
yeah,
it's maybe somewhere between radio and TV. I don't know. But
hey,
we're
face for Facebook.
That's what it is now these days. So
YouTube.
we're gonna talk about kind of the future for Oregon women's basketball because unfortunately we're here in March, and normally I like to have these conversations with you in April, if I'm being honest. I want to be wrapping up a season in April. We talked about that with Oregon men's basketball over the course of this week, but here we are. But also, before we get to women's basketball, the spring game is going to be here before we know it because we're now less than a month away from the spring game. Pretty cool.
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
I was going, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
1 o'clock
less
kickoff.
than a month.
1 o'clock kickoff.
I love the guy's going to be there. You're going to be busy on the sideline doing some interviews.
Well, I was already wondering, running around on the sideline, can I, if they're an honorary offensive coordinator, how much are they calling plays? Can I go grab DeAnthony and say, DeAnthony, give me an answer in all caps?
Yeah. Jerry will want to ask him about fishing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll ask him, when's the last time you went fishing? Jerry Allen wants to know.
Yep.
But seriously, who wins? If you're doing like the old school, you've seen these drills, right, where it's like you line up between the hashes and, well, really between cones, usually like 5 yards apart. Who's winning the drill of getting by? I think edge to the defense. Haloti and Eric Armstead are two of the best we've ever seen.
Well, yeah, true. But can you catch?
Catching them is one thing. Getting by a Haloti Ngata, I don't know.
Well, inside the cones. I mean,
if you're inside the cones, we're talking. What's the distance usually down that?
Yeah,
about 5-6 feet.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think I give the edge to the defense.
Yeah, because all they got to do is reach out and grab you.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
you go down like.
I've never understood why isn't a sumo wrestler used as a hockey goalie? I mean,
good point.
I've never understood
They could
why
make a lot of money doing
Yeah,
that,
why
huh?
has nobody ever thought about like let's just change careers from sumo wrestling to being a hockey goalie? Anyway, these are the things we talk about on Duck Insider.
Yeah, there's not a big space there to get that
Right.
puck into the net, is
That's
there?
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you may have come up on something.
I
may
can't be the
started
first person.
be an agent or something.
I can't be
right?
the first person that has ever thought of this.
Yeah,
I just can't be.
Somebody's listening and they're calling up sumo wrestlers as we
Right.
speak.
That's right. You know,
I got a deal for you.
the trade deadline for the NHL was just this week. I mean, I think I don't know what we'll see. But the Duck Day, by the way, the Oregon Relays are going on for the entire day that weekend and on that Saturday. Oregon soccer plays at Pape Field at 11. Football plays, of course, the spring game at Autzen at 1 o'clock. Baseball is in action at 3 o'clock. I'm excited about that.
Is there softball too? Are they out of town? I don't know.
Softball is in town at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yeah. So
Wow.
baseball at 3, then softball at 5. And we're already planning, by the way, those of you that are with us on the Oregon Sports Network, we're going on the air at 1 o'clock. Jerry and Georgie will have the call, and then we're going to take it right up to 2:45 when the baseball pregame show begins.
All right.
So we're going to be timing how fast I can get from the goalpost at Autzen to the press box at PK.
All right.
I think
we did that last year, didn't we?
Well,
Or
we
the
did
year-
it. We
2
did it a
years ago.
few years
I guess
ago.
2 years ago.
And it was, I think the goal was to try to do it in under 2 minutes, and I think I did it in like 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah, you started the clock on your phone, I think. Yeah.
And I think I got there in 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah,
so
you get
that's
up those
the plan.
stairs, you can, hurry.
A lot of
and you're-
steps.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
steps.
Yeah, but you're young.
Not that young
You
anymore.
can do it. Oh,
We'll see. We'll see.
Listen.
I just well, look, who would have the better? HJ and I talked about this on Tuesday. Like, we can't bet on sports, but this isn't an NCAA sport, so now we're going to take bets on if I can do it in under
The
2
time?
minutes.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to start
From
running
which
stairs
goalpost?
from the east goalpost, so closest to PK.
Not the west. All
Yeah.
right. Come on. That's kind of cheating.
I
think
think personally, it's going to depend mostly on the crowd. Do I have to weave through
Yeah.
people, or can I run straight up the tunnel, run straight out the gate, run straight into PK, and up I go?
Yeah, Jerry Jorge and I may have to buy some people off to kind of be
Sure.
interference.
Sure. I mean, it's
Make
you
it
do,
tougher for you.
You do what you
Yeah,
need to do.
That's right.
But that is the plan.
You see Joey coming at 12:45.
shoulder check.
Yeah.
You
All
know.
right. Or no, 2:45. Excuse me.
Yeah, 2:45. Or if you're really, this is one thing I already was thinking, like the crowd management staff at the right field gate could stop me.
Oh yeah.
I may not be able to rush in there like that. I don't know.
I don't know. That's. Oh, what are we betting?
I mean, Jerry and Georgie already owe me. Jerry and Georgie already owe me dinners for winning.
Well,
picks,
I know.
So
I hear you guys talking about that. I just shake my head. I go, Joey, you're never getting.
No,
you know
never.
That, right? It's like-
never. I don't. Troy asking a good question. How do you get tickets for the spring game? There are no tickets for the spring game. We're going to work with Food for Lane County again, which is an awesome partnership.
It's
I
great.
love that.
Duck fans, you come through every time.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love that we do that. So, Food for Lane County, it's a suggested donation of non-perishable food items to enter Autzen Stadium and then enjoy that spring game. And I'm just going to say this is a big showcase opportunity for Oregon football and Dan Lanning's staff.
His first year, right?
So we got to do this right. Yeah,
Yep.
we got to do this right. So a 1 o'clock start time for us, and then we'll carry it. We don't know exactly what the game format is going to be yet.
I was just going to ask you that. Because
Yeah, we don't
haven't
know.
heard.
The coaches haven't worked out exactly what the scoring's going to be and what the game format's going to look like. But our anticipation is that we're going to be able to have Jerry and Georgie end the broadcast around 2:45, and then those of you that are tuning in to the broadcast, you'll actually hear like the closing billboard of Oregon football broadcast, blah blah blah, and then it's going to start immediately.
Baseball.
This is Duck Baseball, and we'll
All
see if
right.
I can make it there in time to actually open that broadcast when we conclude the football broadcast. But either way, I've hedged my bets. Jordan Brenner will be in the PK
He'll be
Park
there.
broadcast booth. Yeah.
Jordan,
So-
be ready.
And then Terry's going to come over and have himself a nice cold beverage at PK Park, and Jerry and Georgie will probably be joining him.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Just enjoy a little bit of baseball.
Just get 70 degrees. That's all we want.
I think April
That's baseball
23rd.
weather.
April 23rd. I have a good feeling.
All
I
right.
have a good feeling. That's one of my favorite. Full disclosure, that's one of my favorite games and favorite days of the year.
It is a good day.
Because and when you have baseball and football and soccer all going on at the same time, some fans make their way over to the Jane, over to Hayward. Like it's it really is just an awesome showcase of the community of Oregon athletics.
Yeah, especially for fans that are coming from out of town.
Sure.
You can come and you got a day.
Yeah.
You got a day, and you can
full
see,
day.
Yeah, and see everything you want to see, and then spend the night and go golfing the next day.
That's right.
That's what you do.
That's right.
Or there's probably another baseball game the next day.
There is another
softball,
baseball game the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, baseball plays at 2.
I mean, whatever. You've got, a smorgasbord.
Yeah. Yeah. Although this just reminded me that Mark Wasikowski, I'll be doing a pregame interview with him at 10 a.m. I mean, it's a perfect window here. Pregame interview at 10, be able to talk about it a little bit on the football broadcast, and then rocking and rolling. It's a busy day.
It's going to be fun.
It's a good day.
Looking forward to the football.
Me too.
Spring game. Just, it's always kind of neat because there's always a player.
Yeah.
That catches your eye and you're going, oh.
Remember when Marcus Mariota
yes,
was that
he
guy?
was one. Keith Smith was another one when he was back playing the secondary where this guy is, they're just a step above everybody. You can kind of tell. That's who's it going to be this year? I don't know.
All right, excited now.
I think Byron Cardwell, although I don't know how much they'll use him.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I like Seven McGee's been splitting out wide. I think they can use him a lot of different ways. Selfishly, because of the comparisons that come with a guy like that, I hope that DeAnthony Thomas is the offensive coordinator for Seven McGee's team.
Yeah.
Because then there's some cool storylines there, right? Like, hey, how are you going to use him?
Yeah.
I also am curious.
See the quarterbacks.
And I'm just going to put this out into the ether right now. And so to Coach Lanning, Nate Kruger in charge of communications for football, I think we need to do pregame interviews with DeAnthony Thomas and Haloti Ngata, and then also with LaMichael James and Eric Armstead. Like there needs to be some pregame media interviews. Like, okay, what are you looking for here, Haloti? Mm-hmm. I think that we're onto something here.
So guy runs by, grab him, throw him down.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Steven asking a good question. Will the spring game be on the Pac-12 Network? It will be. So we will have the broadcast on the radio. TV will be on Pac-12 Network for the spring game. Well, we're 11 minutes in, and I haven't even gotten to any of the bullet points that I scheduled with Terry because it is the look back for Oregon women's basketball. And well, can you hang out another segment?
I'll do it.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah. Then we're going to get a timeout. So there's the spring game. More details are available on GoDucks.com, by the way, if you weren't taking notes while driving in your car as I was talking about this. GoDucks.com. It's got the full breakdown for parking. We'll go through it a little bit later on, but I want to get into some women's basketball as we recap the season with Terry Jonz on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
We're back in the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Terry Jonz kind enough to join us today before he hits the golf course. It's supposed to be sunny this afternoon.
Yeah, maybe.
Have you golfed yet since the end of the season?
No, I haven't. Well, it just ended. What was it?
I thought
not even a week ago.
I thought like next day you'd be shooting par.
I haven't been. Yeah, I haven't been walking too much. I figured I better get some walks in before I go out and go out and. I don't want to go out and ride the cart. I like to walk.
Yeah, I do
and
too.
Golf. So
I do too.
It's a good, 18 holes out at Emerald Valley is like 11,000 steps. I mean, it's a good day.
Yeah. Hey, before we talk women's basketball and really go in depth, you just reminded me, talking about Emerald Valley, the Jake, new golf facility coming.
Yeah.
Just
I look forward to seeing that.
As a guy who's played that course, worked that course, been around Oregon golf, Terry, I mean, just what does that facility mean to you and to be out in Emerald Valley? I just think it's such a cool thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know they go to Shadow Hills. They go to Eugene Country Club, of course, the home base, but then out there as well. And the owner, Jim Pliska, was a golfer for Oregon that owns Emerald Valley, and I think it's got to mean a lot to Jim. I haven't seen him since that was announced, so I look forward to seeing him maybe this summer down there, and I know that'll mean a lot to him.
Cool.
And he won some OGA events there when he was a young lad, and still a very good golfer, by the way, and a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
It's pretty cool. I'm really excited for the Jake to break ground. It's the next big facility at the University of Oregon. All right. So what I did yesterday, Terry, is I spent about 15, 20 minutes where I going through the season and just kind of reviewing what we saw, what went well, and we were talking about this with Rob yesterday. The parallels between the men's and women's programs of inconsistency and the fact that we both ended up at 20 wins, both the men and the women. It was a wild year in terms of the similarities and inconsistencies. Take fans through the season. How do you put it into a few paragraphs, I guess?
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And I told you, Rob Mullins, the athletic director, was on me in Tennessee for the pregame show. And we kind of joked about it. I said, it was a similar, because the men's season had ended. We were just getting ready for Belmont. And I said, interesting. Is there something in the water at Matthew Knight Arena? And he joked, well, we're going to check that in the offseason. It was a joke, okay? So if those of you just hearing part of this, there's something in the water at Matthew. We're joking. Okay, but it is interesting that they both did that. It's kind of like when we fly out. I look at this season and I'm going, we fly out to Denver and we get to see the mountain ranges, all the peaks at Mount Hood, all the way down the mountain range of the Cascades. And I was told this as a young kid. There's going to be peaks and valleys in your life, and you look at the peaks and you think, but you got to really look how beautiful the mountain tops are. There's valleys. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be valleys for every program. And if 20-12 for the women is a valley, the program's pretty good.
Yeah.
Before Kelly Graves came here, we would have killed for a season like that. And, now some fans, some of you, I don't want to get on to what some of you say on social media, but you should know that everybody gets to see those.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes you actually use your real name so we know who you are. It's like, hello, you couldn't be further from what is accurate. But this team just up and down. I mean, it started with the injuries, the big three with Niara Sabli, India Rogers, and Tahina Paupau out and injured. I still wonder if they would have been through the 10-11 game non-conference season, how they would have gelled if they could have, Instead, they finally get back together the first time they do, because the Utah-Colorado home series was postponed because of COVID. Their first game together was at Stanford.
Yeah.
You're going, really,
Wild.
This is your first game together? And, and they struggled there. But then they go over to Cal, and you look and you see the up. Sidney Parrish goes 7 for 9 for threes. They had talked about after the Stanford game, Niara, when you get doubled, dish it back out. And Sidney had wide open threes, and she goes 7 for 9. And you thought, okay, they're getting it. And then there was some down. And then Arizona had them down by 17 with 1:40 left in the third quarter. And then they perked up.
They won.
The defense dug in, and it turned into great offense, and they win in overtime. And then they destroy, granted, a wounded UConn team, but still a very good UConn team, and just destroyed it. And you thought, okay, they figured it out. Yeah, and then they didn't. You go down to the Arizonas, and you lose 2. After that, after they beat Arizona, I'm trying to have it in sequence here, but the up and down, and then they beat Arizona State here, and then they go down there on a Tuesday, and they go down there on a Sunday and lose to Arizona State after playing terribly against Arizona in front of a big crowd. Utah, they beat Utah at Utah to wrap up second place in the second seed. But even in that game, they had a 16-point lead at the half, gave up all of it but 1 point. And then go into the fourth, they had to grind it out to get the win, to get that second place. And then, they did the same thing against Utah in the Pac-12 tournament, a 23-8 fourth quarter. Utah, they had a 5-point lead, turned in going to the fourth down by 10. And they did get the lead back to their credit. But, it's just crazy. And I thought, they had those 3 games a week there for a while, for 3 or 4 weeks.
I was going to ask you about that.
And I do think they were tired. And I thought, they bowed out early at the Pac-12 tournament, but they got to go home. Coach likes to give them as many days at home as they can. Get away from everything, mentally, physically. And I really thought going to Tennessee that we were going to see a different team, a rested team, and we didn't.
Yep.
We saw the same old, and it was that's frustrating. I mean, 4 of 21 for threes. I think Coach said, you hit one more, you win the game.
Right.
And that still would have been a poor shooting percentage. They need better shooters, or kids need to get in the gym a little bit more. I think Dana Altman said similarly. The coaches in their post games of the season, their final game, said very similar things. You got to work harder. There's no, I think Dana said, "I'm not a rocket science. It's not rocket science, and if it was, I couldn't do it." But it's not. You got to get in the gym. I mean, I watched this team practicing during the year and just thinking to myself, and I tried very hard not to compare to Sabrina, Ruthie, Sautu, and all that group. But I thought they don't practice near as hard. They just don't. And I'm not calling them out. They don't. I mean, Coach has said the same thing. And I think both coaches, Dana and Kelly, said when the coach has to beg you to play hard, to play harder, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
A 20-12 problem. And I know some of you fans, I saw somebody tweeted out, a women's basketball fan, that this program's in shambles. Some of you even said we need to change coaches. You're crazy. That's just insane. But it's, at 20-12, I mean, this is the high, this is the peak, the mountaintop. This is poor. I mean, they're right there. Yeah. Both teams, they're close to being great again.
Well,
they're close to being great.
And I was talking about this yesterday, Terry, and it's kind of been the theme of the show this week, right, is we all don't want to be doing this conversation on March 24th. We want to be doing this conversation on April 10th.
Yes.
Right? But it's not one or the other. It's a spectrum of, yes, there are things that can be improved on, but it's still a pair of 20-win seasons. Yeah. For the men, there are only 4 programs that have won 20 games in 12 straight years, and the Ducks are one of them. And so I think it's really interesting.
It's relative. You got to put it in perspective.
It is. And one thing that Mose and I were talking about yesterday, Terry, is that getting to 20 wins doesn't mean as much as it used to in basketball, but it's still significant.
Yes.
It's still significant. So it's interesting to hear you say that it's not one or the other. Are there things that they need to improve on, though? Absolutely. And I think that the coaches would be the first to say that.
Yeah. When they played hard defensively, it translated. The Arizona UConn, I just can't get that out of my mind to see. When they turned the defense on, it turned to offense. It turned to great outside shooting. The whole thing kind of came together, but then it leaves as fast as it came.
Yeah.
And it's just finding that consistency. And, and that's, to me, that's not up to the coach. It's either an 8. I mean, you look at Sabrina Ionescu, it's an 8 in her. You look at, we went to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, by the way, and we saw Bev Smith's picture. And just those kind of players are an 8. And I guess maybe that's why there's only a few that are great, because it's innate in them. And some of them you have to push them. But I also find out, and you've been doing it long enough, and I've been doing it a long time, great players want to be coached hard.
Yeah.
They want, Sabrina Ionescu wanted to just give me more. Yeah, bark at me, Kelly. Give it to me, and I will go show you. And some of these players, I think right now, they've got to learn that, and I think they handled it pretty well. The big thing is this core's got to stay together of the main players. I mean, with the portal, we can't ignore that. It's out there. And, do you stay? Do you buckle up? Do you decide I'm going to go get it? I'm hungry. I don't want to do that. Or do you take the easy way out and say it's not me, it's the coach, and I need to leave?
Right.
And we'll find out. And you find out, what you have. And I think the core is very, very good. They're very talented. They came coming out of high school, but some teams it just takes longer for them to learn that how hard you have to play for every play at this level. And it's a learning process because they're stars in high school. They can take plays off. They can coast a play or two, and they're still the best player on the floor. But you're playing now against the same kind of talent every day, every game.
Before we talk, the future, what the roster is going to look like, I want to go back with you because getting a chance to go through the Hall of Fame. What was that like for you? I mean, as someone who's been associated with the women's basketball program here now for 2 decades. I mean, what was that like being able to go and see Bev's picture there? Just take fans through that experience.
Yeah, it was remarkable, and the presentation, we had a guide, taking us through, and some of the surprises. I mean, seeing the history back when they were wearing a dress, a skirt, just all of that, and seeing some of the first basketballs, some of the first baskets, and then after you go through the whole thing, they have about a 25-minute video, and some of it is Pat Summitt centric, which it should be.
Right.
I mean, you do feel like walking into Thompson Bowling Arena that you're on hallowed ground. I mean, you think about it and you see all the banners, championship banners, and then the players. Tamika Catchings, who did the ESPN game, we were there the day before, and she came over and introduced herself to me. I was right near where they were broadcasting from, and looking at just what a delightful person, and and if you look up and see all the things that she did, a national championship, a WNBA champion, I mean, all the things, and she's a Hall of Famer. To see Bev, that touched me. To see that picture and just to know that a great friend, and that just what a great player, and what it takes. They don't just hand out. There's only 170 women.
Wow.
In the Hall of Fame, and Bev
She's
Smith is one of them. We know Sabrina's going to be there in a few years after her career, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I'm glad that I could ask you about that, because when you sent me that picture, I was like, whoa. And what a cool experience.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do that. And the team got to do it too, by the way.
Yeah,
the team walked through.
It wasn't just me. It was everybody, and it was fantastic.
That's pretty awesome.
And the video was pretty special. I think the players have a hard time appreciating it because some of the players like Bev, a little more distance in years, and they can't quite grasp that she could play today and excel. Because she could.
She could.
But but they appreciated it too, and it was you get back there. I mean, it's a pretty cool place.
It's worth the experience.
It is worth it.
Yeah,
yep.
That's cool. That's like I had the opportunity to go through the Muhammad Ali Center when we were in Louisville, and I just thought I may never get to do this again.
Yeah.
And walking through it with my wife, it was like, man, it's places like that. There's a reason those places exist.
Yeah, the women's team got to do that a few years ago. I had to come back for football. I remember, but when they were playing Louisville in the preseason NIT.
Yeah,
and I know they went through there.
That's pretty cool
because Kelly is big on that. Kelly's really good about those things, that you're someplace and that you can learn something.
Yeah.
Especially he likes, people who achieved great things. You can learn some things.
No doubt about that.
From them.
No doubt about that. Well, I'm only a third of the way through my bullet points.
Sorry.
Time out real quick. We're going to come back with Terry Jonz. We haven't even talked about what the roster itself will look like, and maybe that's the big question we don't have an answer to. But we're gonna let Terry noodle on that for 2 minutes and then be back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Attention Student Rocket League gamers. The $125,000 Level Next Rocket League Spring Showcase is back. And free entry is now open. Rep your school in the Level Next Rocket League Spring Showcase to win the championship trophy, ring, and part of the $125,000 prize pool. Like this opportunity, food is too good to be wasted. With Best Foods, you can save more and waste less food. Hashtag make taste, not waste. Registration closes March 27th. Sign up now at levelnextesports.com.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
That'll faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Nuggets Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack and Terry Jonz here. I'll tell you what, talking about basketball seasons, I'm already just going like, man, it's going to be here before we know it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the offseason comes at you quick. Oregon men's basketball, we were discussing. Chris Crutchfield gets a chance to go be a head coach at his alma mater at Nebraska Omaha. Pretty darn cool. So what the staff's going to look like, the women's team went through that last year. Had a little bit of the staff change, and it hadn't been that way in a while. And, you know, a couple of first-year assistant coaches here at Oregon. And I'm kind of curious, before we talk about the future of the roster, how about the coaching staff and just the fact that it's year 2 with the same group now heading into next year? And also, Terry, the fact that they have now been working together in a regular environment,
right?
Which is an oddity that we're still talking about that, right? But it's still, that's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, by the way, Jackie Neard Hairston and her husband Josh had a newbie, a young man named Josh.
All right.
Congratulations to them. She stayed back from Tennessee, and good thing she did because it happened while we were back there. And Josh Hairston, I know a lot of people don't know who she married. Josh Hairston played for Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, so he's just nice guy, just super nice guy, and love Jackie. And Mike Moser, of course, played here at Oregon, and Mike knows his stuff. Worked for the Dallas Mavericks, played a lot of pro ball over in Europe, and he played in Russia. I talked about Russia with him on one of the trips, just a little bit, playing over there and what was going on, because the Ukraine thing was kind of starting. It's kind of interesting. They're a fantastic addition to the staff, and of course you've got Jody Berry, Mama Hen, who's just the rock of that staff, and of course Kelly Graves, who's, you know, the guy's got over 600 wins. Hello, he's gone to a Final Four, you know, a few Elite Eights. He's just, you know, to question him, it just is, you can't. If you do, you're the one that looks silly. But he's just a remarkable staff. The recruiting has gone great. You know, Jackie and Mike do a lot of that, and of course Kelly does a lot of that as well, and Jody as well, but on the road. And Kelly, I know after we left Las Vegas, the Pac-12 tournament, he had to make a trip somewhere across the country to go talk to a recruit. It never ends, and you know, the players will keep coming in, and next year's group. Did we want to go through that have Kelly talk about it now, or did you want to talk more about the roster?
I think let's talk a little bit about the roster. Scott has pulled the conversation that Terry and Coach Graves actually had.
Tip-off Tuesday.
Yeah, final tip-off Tuesday, and a lot of fans were asking for men's basketball, like, hey, I want to know more about the recruits, and so Terry suggested, well, let's play that. So we'll get to that coming up, talking about the roster. But what about the let's start first with the departures that we know, the ones whose careers have come to a close. I mean, there's a chance to celebrate them on senior day, but then when the season really comes to an end, I think it hits you. It hits you like a ton of bricks sometimes.
Yeah, Shannon Duffy, it was just a year here. It would have been interesting if she could have started her career here. But I remember, and I told her this, and I when she was at Utah State, and we went there with Sabrina Ruthie, Satu, that group, Aaron Boley. I think it was the Final Four year. We went there and played. And a lot of times you go and you play those teams, and if you listen to the broadcast, I will say, if I think somebody, you know, they could play in the Pac-12. And I remember she had like 12 or 14 points and 10 rebounds, blocked Ruthie a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I went, she could play in the Pac-12. And then interesting, she ended up transferring to Missouri one year and then ended up coming here. Great kid, you know, graduate school. Missed some practices sometimes because of that, but Then the last couple of weeks and through to Las Vegas, her parents, Oliver and Eileen, came, and then I met her brother, Michael, older brother, who came from Australia. She had not seen them since the pandemic began.
Really?
It was in the 500. I asked Shannon, I said, how many days since you saw your parents? So 570, I think it was. It was something like that they had not seen each other because of the pandemic. Remarkable kid. Niara Sabally, she's got to decide by April 1st if she wants to be eligible for the WNBA. Now, she is considering coming back. I mean, it depends on where she goes. Now, the mock drafts I've been seeing, she's been as high as number 4 pick.
Wow.
That's... it's not the same. The money's not the same, as it is with the men. But, I don't want to say whether I don't, because I don't know. I would say
it's a decision.
Maybe it's a decision. Yeah. It's her decision. I just told her, hey, I'm going to be happy for you, whatever you decide. And, if this is goodbye, then so be it. But she only played 47 games.
I know.
Here 4 years. And I was thinking about that this morning and thinking, she would have played 2 years with Satu. And a lot of people don't know, if you don't remember, but Kelly said this publicly, that it would have happened the 2019-20 season that got ended with the pandemic, and we think the Ducks probably would have gone and had a pretty good chance at winning the whole thing. They were going to play Niara. He planned on playing Niara in the postseason and burning a year, even though she had set out because she was back well enough. And I started thinking about that this morning, her coming in and resting Ruthie. She would have played with Sabrina on the pick and roll. Yep. Did you see her with a pick and roll with Sabrina? You got Ruthie, and then, okay, let's rest Ruthie. We're going to bring in Niara Sabally. How you like that?
Right.
I mean, that, I just thought about that. But remarkable in the 47 games. In her final game, it's too bad it was a loss, but 31 points, 12 rebounds, 7 blocked shots.
Career highs.
And, just incredible. Great. She's just a delightful person. So different from Satu, who's a little more outgoing. Niara's a little more quiet. But, smart, academic, all region. But you're going to have Elise Hurst coming back. What do you got? Of course, Tahina, Pau, India Rogers. They're going to have your guards coming back. Filipina Che. I think I'm going to look forward to seeing. I'm sure coaches, they'll have something laid out for her and really going to be working with her here in the spring.
Yeah.
And what she's going to do. She has a chance to be great. Not just good, but be great. Just with her athleticism at 6'8".
Development's key.
She's just learning basketball. Yeah. She's just learning it. And you could see throughout the season how she did. Kylie Watson, Maddie Shear, Sedona Prince announced she's coming back. Sydney Parrish. If that nucleus will stay together and not, be tempted by the portal, I mean, you've got a solid nucleus that they're going to be very good. Not a good taste in their mouths, the way it ended and the way the season. They understand that they were up and down. They're smart kids. They're winners. They're used to winning, not used to having 12 losses in a season. So it's going to be interesting. I fully expect them to get to work, the nucleus to stay together and to get to work. And it's going to be a better season. Because you look at Sydney Parrish, I think ended up about 35% for threes. She's a 40% three-point shooter. India Rogers was 31% for 2 years at USC coming in. She ended up at 32. But she can improve that too. Tahina Pau, I think, was the one that's shocking that she shot 30% for threes for the season. And her, but who didn't play until January.
Right.
But I think she's a 40% three-point shooter. So they have some shooters, and we'll see coming in. I know Chance Gray, the number 7 recruit in the country. Remember, Sabrina was the number 4 recruit, so that's how highly thought of she is in the country. You'll hear a coach compare her to a player in the Pac-12, which is a pretty good comparison. I think that you'll like, but she's a pretty good shooter. Of course, when you watch highlights sometimes, you're seeing all the ones that go in.
The ones that go in.
You're not seeing all the misses, and I don't know what her shooting stats are, but a very good player. But we want to go to that one.
Absolutely.
See the players coming in, and Coach will talk about the 4.
So from Tip-Off Tuesday, last one of the year, if you missed it, or if you want to hear it again, just looking at the future, Terry talking with Coach Graves about the recruiting class.
Spence is just an electric guard. I mean, she's a scoring guard, can play the point. I love her ability in transition. I think she's great in transition, both as a scorer and as a passer. But she kind of reminds me a little bit of Charisma Osborne at UCLA, has that type of talent. She's, a top 5 in the Naismith voting. for the National High School Player of the Year, which is really, really cool. A McDonald's All-American as well. So guard out, just an electric scoring guard out of Ohio. And then Grace Van Sluten, another McDonald's All-American, about 6'3", really hard worker. She's kind of a combination of an Aaron Boley, can shoot it, but she's got a little bit of a power game as well. She's great around the basket. She's old school, up and unders, very aggressive, can attack the basket. I really like her. I think she's got a super bright future. And then 2 players out of Arizona, Jenna Tsai. Jenna is going to win the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Arizona. They just won the state championship. Broad-shouldered, 5'11", just tough as nails, a winner at Valley Vista High School. Loves contact. I mean, she can get to the basket, loves contact, and a really good defender. Right now, and I think she made 10 threes in a game this year, so she can shoot it, she can drive it, she gets to the line, and a good defender. And then Kennedy Basham, a 6'7" player out of Arizona, did not play this year. She's had injuries and could have played, but she decided to have her feet operated on, and missed the season. So, good athlete, runs the floor, has a little bit of Lydia Giomi in her in terms of that kind of athleticism. That she's skinny and, still she's got to get in the weight room, but it's a really good class, and we kind of have filled some needs, but I really like them, and they're all winners. Grace played at IMG Academy down there in Florida. She's from Toledo, Ohio. So two players from Ohio and 2 from Arizona. Go figure. And it's one of the top classes in the country, and they're all coaches' daughters. Well, Kennedy's not, but Kennedy's brother plays at Pepperdine. He's a freshman there, big 7-footer. But yeah, coaches' daughters, they know how to play. And I really like them. They're good students. They're good teammates. They're really just good people. That's who we recruit. We don't recruit knuckleheads. We recruit the best of the best. We're in that position. We don't have to take a chance on idiots, a high risk, high reward kind of student athletes. We're getting really great young women who are also obviously very, very good basketball players.
Yeah, there you go. That's next year. It sounds pretty good. Number 1 or number 2 depends. A class depends on who you talk to. But a very good class. I love those comparisons. Charisma Osborne, and what I've seen, I would watch Chance Gray and I would watch her videos, and I'm like, man, she reminds me of somebody. And when he said that, I went, that's it. That is what she looks like. One of the best players in the country, and Van Sluten and Asai. Got to meet Jenna Asai actually down in Phoenix. We had to wait for our flight, and they were over at the mall where we're in met her mom and dad. And just what a great kid. And when I watch her, like he said, tough as nails. That's exactly what I think when I watch her video. Is just, holy cow, this kid's got some toughness. She's going to bring some toughness to this team. And then Van Sluten, the same thing. And Van Sluten, like he said, very fundamental. The up and under, her pivot work. She's 6'3", and then Ruth Kennedy Basham. I watched some of her video this morning, and 6'7" out shooting some threes.
Really?
Making some threes. Now, I think Coach that might not be what he wants, but maybe you could see her maybe
stretch it out a little.
Another Sedona Prince kind of role that, Sedona, kind of that mid-range. You could see her maybe doing that as she gets stronger, but it's going to be interesting. It's as he said in the post game after the Belmont loss, he said it's not back to the drawing board. It's not. They are a lot closer to being great.
Yeah.
And they're not far from that. And like I said, if the nucleus, if they'll stay together, not break it up, and have these new players come in, but they do need the alpha and somebody. If you step up, it's easier to be a leader when you're playing well. But if you don't feel like you're playing well, it's a little harder to be a leader. And they're fine. They've got great coaching staff. They're great kids, like you said. They don't recruit knuckleheads, and they don't have any here. And these 4 coming in, like he says, they are not. And I look forward to a great year next year.
I'm already excited about it.
Yep.
I want to get a timeout. When we come back, the top plays of the year.
Oh.
As called by Terry Jonz.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Quick timeout. Coming back after this. Also, I see a question from Charles. We'll answer that when we return as well on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Thanks for calling Toyota. This is Jan. How can I help?
Hey, Jan. Say, is now a good time for a new Toyota?
You bet it is. Now through April 4th is the perfect time to shop for a RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma, Corolla, and more. Imagine yourself in a RAV4. Where would you go first?
Skinny Al's Barbecue.
I'm imagining you inviting me.
Let your imagination run wild at your participating Toyota dealer. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one small step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio, joined today by Terry Jonz, talking to Oregon women's basketball. Charles asking a question that I think is on a lot of people's minds as we talk about roster management. Will they ever close the portal? And I'll go, yeah, I don't think so. I think that the portal is going to be here to stay.
That can of worms is open.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going anywhere. And to be honest with you, that's okay with me. It's about the student athlete.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think Coach Graves said it best. It was, I think, after the end of last year when 4 portaled out. And he says, look, it's going to take a while for it to die down.
Yeah.
You know, for players to realize it's not always greener on the other side, right? And then once that happens, it's going to take a while. There's a guy named Raul that, if you follow on Twitter, that's pretty good at keeping up with the women's basketball portion of things. And I think yesterday went over 400 players are already in the portal.
Wow.
I think it's only like 100 or so are from Power 5, so it's usually like mid-majors trying to move up. But still, that's plenty. And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's possible, but you hope everybody stays together of this women's group anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And now we've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. Scott put together the plays of the year, some of the best highlights from the season, a little bit of the story of the season with some of the big moments, some of the big plays.
There were some big moments, folks.
As called by Terry Jonz. Here's what Scott put together for the year in review women's basketball highlights.
To the wing. Out top passes, and Shear dives, gets the ball, flips to India Rogers, into the lane, out to Parrish, 3 not open, goes to the rim, up and in, and a foul! And 1 coming up for Sydney Parrish. Prince gets it in the lane, underneath, Pinto scores! High post, Sabali out to Parrish for 3, got it! In the corner, Elise Hurst open 3 is good. She buried it. Timeout, Oregon. Looks against Corsdale, rises up and got it and 1. A foul on Corsdale. And the Ducks have won for the 3rd straight year at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis. Mouth with Sabali out top. Now Sabali gets it down on the low right. The cut, Hurst, he was open. No, gives out to Parrish, a 3. Good, Sid. Down the floor quickly, Rogers. Now Parrish, quick shot in the corner, a 3. 6 3-pointers on 6 tries for Sydney Parrish. Inside, Sabali muscles in and scores, draws the foul. Here's Pinto, drives in the lane, a runner up and banks it home and draws the foul. And one coming up for Shania Pinto. Ducks have won it. Ducks have pulled it out after trailing the entire game. It's in the matchup zone, pass inside to Nelson Adona, and Sabali stepped in front and took it away. All the way down, they don't stop her, left hand score! Tiara Sabali with 7 and the Ducks back in front by 15. Oregon with the victory over number 9 UConn did what it needed to do. Looking, goes into corner, Osborne. 11, Osborne down underneath the basket, tried to dish, ball loose, Prince has it and tied up, and a foul on UCLA with 7.3 to go. Survive and advance. The Ducks have done it. Go baseline, does. Dishes back out, parries for 3, no good. Rebound, Rogers back up and in! And in with 0.4 to go. Rogers after the tip from Sedona Prince, inbound, Yaney shoots, no good! Ducks have come back from 17 down to win. That's good. That was great.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. That's good to relive it, and you realize 20-12, disappointing. First round out, but there were some great plays. There's some great players here, folks. There's some great players here.
And good calls.
Yeah.
And good calls.
Oh, thank you.
So another good season.
They make it easy.
That was season number what behind the mic?
17.
17.
With the women, yeah.
17 years behind the mic. You've
We'll
seen
see.
some good basketball, and a lot of it's been in the last few years.
Yeah, it has, yeah. That's what I thank Kelly. In fact, I thanked him. I said, hey, thanks for being so great to work with. You make my job easy.
Yeah.
And he is. He's a great guy, great coach, great coaching staff. And we're both very lucky to be around.
No doubt about that.
Be around the players and get to see some things that we get to see. And some of them we can't share with you, and we shouldn't. That just stay within the team. But it's a great job to have.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to see, too, the story of an entire season, because I'm guilty of this, where you get so lost in the day-to-day and the game-to-game and the up and down that comes with it. And then when you think about the entirety of a season at the end of it and the stories that came, I mean, like, for example, Scott did put it together in chronological order. That was kind of some of the big moments building up. And, you get you're down any game that you're down 17 and you come back and win.
Like
that's
the
a
number
cool
17
moment.
in the country.
I mean, that's a cool moment,
Yes.
and it's a tip out and it's a baseline jumper from the – I don't even know if it was from the block or from the short corner. Somewhere there, she just lobs it up, and then Rogers hits the game winner. I mean, that's what it's all for. Was that from the block or from the short corner?
Short corner. She was actually out of bounds, jumped in in time as the ball was being tipped by Sedona, tipped it, and she just caught it and knew wasn't much time and put it back up and went in. And Bev, you could hear Bev kind of,
yeah.
It's good. It was
Every now and then
fantastic.
Every now and then you need the broadcaster crackles the mic call.
Yeah, I know.
That was the one. That was the one.
Yeah, sorry about that, but it
this
was
year.
an exciting moment, and the fans went crazy, and that's fans, you're great. We love we got the best fans in the world. Yeah. We really do. I mean, you guys show up and you get loud and proud, and you like your Ducks, and we know you'll show up again next year. And
it's a home court advantage.
It is a home
Wasn't
court
it nice
advantage.
to have fans back in that home court?
Oh, my gosh. That was fantastic.
Yep.
That was fantastic. Great to see you, too. A lot of you I've gotten to know over the years, and we love you.
Yeah. He's Terry Jonz, ladies and gentlemen. Terry, thanks for being here. God,
hey,
almost
thanks,
the
buddy.
whole show.
Sorry,
thank
you said a few minutes.
This was great.
I got rambling. Sorry.
No, this was great. The true look
what
back
I do.
on the women's season. Now we got to get a timeout. Terry's going to hit the golf course, go shoot par. Spring game info coming up. Thanks again, Terry.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can step, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can step, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Finishing up Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Thanks again to Terry Jonz, man. He's just on his way out. I didn't anticipate that we were going to go that long with Terry, but he's just such a wealth of information talking women's basketball that it was like, well, no, we're keeping him in here. I mean, why not? You know, we get the opportunity to talk to him about the season that was, and we will spend a little bit more time tomorrow talking baseball, talking softball, and well, everything else that's going on, but including one of those things that's going on, it's the spring game. Dan Lanning said we couldn't be more excited to welcome these 4 legends and so many other incredible alumni back to Autzen Stadium because remember, those guest coaches, the honorary coaches are DeAnthony Thomas, Haloti Ngata, LaMichael James, and Eric Armstead. Spring game will be at 1 o'clock. Parking lot set to open at 10:30. Gates open at noon at Autzen Stadium. First 3 quarters will simulate a real game between the yellow and green teams with rosters set to be released at a later date. Thomas, Ngata, James, and Armstead will call plays for the teams during the 4th quarter, with other on-field activities planned to get fans involved in the action. Football spring game will be one of many athletic events going on that day. Fans can get over to PK Park after the spring game and Jane Sanders Stadium at 5 o'clock, for example. But yeah, so the game format, we actually do have a little more clarity on that for you, as Terry and I were joking about it. First 3 quarters will simulate a real game between the green and yellow teams. Then those 4th quarters are going to be, well, fun. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Oregon Sports Network. See ya.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.